What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So just yesterday I went to the AT&T store so I could kind of tinker around with the iPhone 13 and just look at, the new devices, get my hands on it. And on top of that, my wife is in the market for a 13 or a 13 Pro, probably the 13 Pro, because she always does the Pro phone. So, she wanted to check it out as well. But while we were there, I was looking at the iPad minis, and keep in mind, I'm somebody who uses an iPad Air 4 exclusively for every single task. I don't run a laptop and I don't run a desktop currently. Now, keep in mind, we also have those type of devices here in the house, but I, personally don't use those. I only use my iPad Air 4. So I was looking at the iPad mini, and while I was standing there just, messing around with it, it was smooth. It looked nice. It was small. It was compact. But I started thinking to myself, what would be the reason somebody like myself who runs an iPad Air 4, why would I need an iPad mini? Not even that. I started thinking, who is this iPad mini for? So in this video today, I want to talk a little bit about who the iPad mini is for. And that's coming from an iPad only user's perspective. Let's get to it. So jumping right into the meat and potatoes of things. No, I'm not going to get the iPhone 13. I am going to wait on the 14. Now that that's out the way, if you are somebody, who owns an iPad right now, let's say you have an iPad Air 4 or an iPad Pro, the 10.9 or the 11 inch, then I don't personally think that you need to go out and grab an iPad mini. Now, I do feel that it has a few, features that you can kind of rant and rave about, but from a productivity standpoint, if you already have an iPad, there's nothing that the iPad mini can do that your current iPad can't do. However, it is portable, it is lightweight, it is very easy to pack, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will prefer to probably, have that small tablet just for being able to be on the go with it, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like the whole portability piece is really the only thing that it has going for it over other iPads. So who is this iPad mini for? Now, to me, I just personally feel like it's for anybody who just genuinely wants that smaller iPad, that smaller footprint, so that they can kind of hang out on the couch, watch a little YouTube, surf the web, hang out on Amazon a little bit, sit on their social media, do some FaceTime calls and things like that. And they just want to be, a little bit more portable and have that little small device so they can walk around the house with it. But keep in mind, if you have something like an iPad Air 4, then I feel like you can do those same type of things with an iPad Air 4 because it's not that much bigger than the mini itself. I also feel like it's for people who probably want to run their home automation system from a dedicated iPad. They probably want to just have it sitting on the counter or even, get it mounted in the wall. Who knows? But home automation systems are a big thing now. Everybody has the smart homes, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who, kind of like myself, I do a few things from my iPad Air 4, but I can just imagine having that smaller iPad that I can just have dedicated sitting in the corner, maybe a 64 gig or something, I don't know, just sitting in the corner or on the counter looking nice and, and pretty. And that's where I can control everything from the house, or maybe have one there and have one in another room. But yeah, I think that people with home automation systems will probably like that small iPad, to be able to control everything. I also think that the iPad mini could be great for people who, want to run a business and want to implement the whole iPad mini into their, workflow, and giving it to, their employees and things like that. Because a good example would be if you own a house and you have like warranty issues or whatever, and you know how the, people come to your house to, let's just say, fix a doorknob or something, right? And, the guy pulls up, he comes to your house and he has you sign on his iPad and all of those things. I feel like iPad minis would come in handy in like jobs like that, or like jobs where a lot of people need to, be on their iPad to check you in and stuff like that. So like businesses, I think, will really benefit from integrating iPad minis into their whole little ecosystem for their employees. Now, I also think the iPad mini would make a great secondary monitor for, let's say, recording YouTube videos or whatever social media you're trying to record to or whatever, or record for. Because like you guys know, I use a lot of my iPhones to record all these videos, and I use my 8 Plus primarily as a secondary monitor. Now, I can use my iPad Air 4, but I just prefer to use my, 8 Plus because it is a big enough screen. But I can just imagine, using an iPad mini for a secondary display or a secondary monitor while recording these videos. I think that would be awesome. I also think a lot of students could benefit from using an iPad mini. However, just keep in mind, for me personally, I don't feel like it's a great laptop replacement. So let's just say if you're like a student who really, prefers to type their notes out, the iPad mini doesn't have like a magic keyboard or anything like that. But you can use a Bluetooth keyboard, but I just can't see somebody lugging around a small Bluetooth keyboard, and going into their class and setting up, their iPad mini with a Bluetooth keyboard and typing out all their notes and things. But it does have pencil support. So if you're somebody who prefers to write their notes, then yes, it may work for you. But if you prefer to tap your notes as a student, I just don't think it's the way to go. So I'm sure at this point, you're just thinking like, Jay, everything you mentioned is like what everybody would typically use an iPad mini for anyway. And to you, I would say you right. And that's the only reason why I feel like the whole portability thing is really the biggest thing that the iPad mini has going for it. Now, I do think the iPad mini has its place in the whole Apple ecosystem, but I would be like really hard pressed to just tell you to go out and get an iPad mini when you can get any like last year's model iPad, iPad Air 4 or iPad Pro and things like that. You can get any one of those, man, and be better off than just grabbing a small iPad mini. Now, if it is your first iPad and you want to go with a mini because you don't want to go full-fledged into the whole Apple ecosystem, I can totally understand that. But just keep in mind, there are some iPad Air 4s out there. There are some iPad Pros, some 2018s, some 2020s, and all of that stuff, man. Those devices are out there as well. So just make sure that, you take a look at those before you dive head first into the iPad mini. So those were some of my quick thoughts that I just wanted to share with you guys, man, while I was coming back from the AT&T store. I know a lot of those, scenarios of where I feel like the mini could be used for. I know there's tons and tons of other ways you can use the mini because I own an iPad Air 4 and I have used it in so many other situations and use it for a lot of different things. But, just thinking about it from, the perspective of using an iPad Air 4 completely and exclusively, to, adding an iPad mini to my setup, or even just wanting to grab an iPad mini when I know that there's other devices out there that's better than that iPad, mini. But it does have the portability piece going for it. I just wanted to share that with you guys, man. But for me personally, I know I initially thought that, when they did the whole launch, and I was like, yeah, if I had to pick something out of that whole lineup, I would get an iPad mini. But, having my iPad Air 4 and knowing what I use it for, it really wouldn't fit in my whole day-to-day or in my scenario at all. So those are my thoughts, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit that like button so the YouTube algorithm can be nice to this video. And it's been your man, Jay. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.